Hey, welcome back to another edition of Tony's Fords and Mustangs. Today I'm going to bring you a non-Ford and a car that I think is one of the best buys in the current used car market. And to start things out, we're going to drop the top on this one. Oh, and it's down. Yeah, that was easy, right? Today I'm in my wife's Fiat Spider. It's a 124 Spider. These are cars that were produced in... I'll go a little turbo. These are cars that were produced in conjunction with Mazda. So you got a Mazda transmission. It's actually from the past generation MX-5. And these cars, Fiat actually can help Mazda produce the MX-5. Mazda considered dropping the MX-5 altogether, but when Fiat decided it wanted to reintroduce the 124 Spider, they reached out to Mazda, and Mazda said, well, if you guys are going to pitch in with the production costs on this thing, then we'll work with you. And so you actually had the MX-5 with its new model, and then Fiat produced this 124 Spider. Now this car is equipped with Brembo brakes. It's got Bilstein shocks on it. It's a 1.4 liter with a tiny little turbo on it, but it does surprisingly well when it's in sport mode. It has a regular mode on it. I don't recommend the regular mode too much. The suspension on this thing is stiff. It's not with the Bilstein shocks in it. I can't speak to the standard shock cars, but a stiff suspension in a two-door sports car convertible is exactly what you would want. Weight distribution's 50-50. So it's 50% in the front, 50% in the rear, and that is exactly what one would want. This thing carves. It's not fast. It's quick, relatively quick, but it does carve in the corners. The steering response is awesome, and that's probably because it's the MX-5 steering response, but it does carve. So around corners, things like that, this car really gets it. Now this is the Abarth edition. That's what my wife wanted. They make a Lusso and a couple other editions. As far as the engine, not a whole lot of difference. The Abarth gives you some of the performance upgrades that you might want. It also gives you the nicer wheels, the appearance package. It has Abarth badges everywhere. There's only one Fiat badge on this, and it's in the center of the steering wheel. And some of the Abarths have an Abarth badge on the steering wheel. I can tell you, when people see this car, they're generally confused as to what it is. They've never seen one before. My wife has had people ask her if it's a Ferrari or what. They have no idea what the thing is. But yeah, it's a nice looking little aggressive styling on it. It's a nice looking little car. This car replaced my wife's MG, which, if anyone's ever had it, and it was an MGB, it was a 77. If you've ever owned an MG, you know you're going to be working on a thing constantly. And she wanted to take it on trips, and that just didn't make a lot of sense to either of us. So I was constantly working on that car. Oil leaks, overheating, this, that, the other thing. So we sold that and bought this. I bought this car in 2020. It's a 2018 model. It's got 19,000 miles on it now. It had 17 on it when we purchased it. So roughly 3,000 miles on it. It's a fun little car. It really, really is. But at the time, the price on this car when we purchased it was $22,000. Now new, it was $43,000. So in the course of 2 years, $20,000, or approximately half its value, had gone away. Similar equipped Mazdas would have run us 27, 28 at the time. And there's really not that much difference between the two cars. The styling is different. My wife hates the styling of the Mazda, and that's why ultimately we ended up with this Fiat. But there's not a whole lot of difference between the two cars. The electronics, the dash, the controls, everything in the interior wise is Mazda. The driveline, the transmission is from the past generation MX-5. The rear axle is Mazda. You can put Mazda wheels on this thing, they'll bolt right up. So a lot of the parts from the Mazda swap over. It's the LCD, the instrument displays, that's Mazda. All the controls for the radio, that's Mazda. So there's a lot of Mazda parts here. The thing you don't get is the Mazda price. Mazda's got a better name than Fiat. That's just how it is. This was one of the least popular cars in America when it was introduced, or at least as far as sales. And they no longer make this car in the United States, which is fine if you're buying a used car. Give it a little gas here. I mean, the key to this car is keeping your RPMs up when you're driving around town. As long as you're in the higher RPM range, things scooch right along. And you want to keep your speed up, it'll handle the corners no problem. It's like a little go-kart. But you could daily this without a whole lot of issues. Gas mileage on it averages around 29 miles per gallon, which is really good. I'm going to get in some corners here, and I can take these at speed with no issues whatsoever. It turns in well, it handles well, it grips the road well. I'm sure if I upgrade the tires a little bit off the factory, it would do even better. But it's no problem in the corners. But if you like top-down cruising, you want something that's relatively reliable, and in this used car market, inexpensive, I don't know that you can beat this thing. I looked today on Auto Trader and Cars.com. There's several models of this car with under 20,000 miles that are selling for under $20,000. And that's hard to beat. Now, it is rear-wheel drive, so those that live in colder climates that have to deal with snow, maybe you want to steer clear of it. You can get it in manual 6-speed, although the manuals are only make up about 30% of them. Most of them are automatics, which is kind of a bummer. But if you want a fun little toss-about car that's, as far as I can tell, reliable, because we've had no issues whatsoever, then this is a good choice for you. Top, as you saw, and I'll just put it up here real quick. Doesn't get much easier than that to put the top down. Although I prefer to drive it whenever I can with the top down. The only real drawback is the luggage space. There isn't any. So we've got cup holders that mount here, which I try to get a drink out of here is a little rough. The glove box is also right there. So that's a little tough to get to. The trunk has enough for 2 overnight bags and maybe a wardrobe bag, and that's about it. It does put a smile on your face. Cruise around with the top down, it's nothing like it. So can you do modification to these cars? Absolutely, yes you can. Should you? I don't know. I mean, it's there's intercoolers that are available. I'm sure you could get, I've seen folks that got the horsepower up to 225, something like that. But once again, it's a Fiat engine. So I'm not going to press my luck with this. It's fun as it is, and it does a good job. I'm not too concerned if my wife wants to drive this thing 200-300 miles. I'm not worried like I was with the MGB, where I'm going to have to go pick it up on a trailer and bring it back to the house. It's a nice little car. It's a fun little car. And like I said, price an MX-5 and then look at a Fiat 124 Spider. There's a big savings to be had there just because of Fiat's past reputation. That's something I think if you're looking at this segment, it's hard to resist that extra $7,000-8,000 you don't have to spend for a similar equipped car with similar mileage. So yeah, I think it's a good car. I like it. It's not bad at all. All right, till next time, we'll see you. Subscribe, like, that'd be awesome. And next time I'm sure it's going to be a Ford.